It's been raining like hell in East Nashville. Supposed to get 5 to 6 inches in a couple days, and I got up this morning a little bit groggy. I'm gonna go get some coffee. Thought maybe you guys want to go with me. Hello, how you doing?
All right, we'll have it out the next window.
Thank you, man.
No problem.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. This is a mom and pop coffee shop, and it's currently my favorite one in Nashville. Coffee's always great and nice people. I don't know anybody here, and I don't think they know me at all, but they're really nice people. I've come in and used the Wi-Fi here, just sitting in there to upload episodes, to publish videos for this channel right here, and they always have strong Wi-Fi. You know, it's not the most cheapest coffee, but it's not super expensive, but it's good, and it's a mom and pop place. So I go every now and then, you know, maybe once a week, and get me a treat. And the muffins are ridiculously good. I always feel good about that. I bought one of these for Amy because she loves them so much. See if I can drag one out and show it to you. Like these oversized banana walnut muffins. Look at that. Doesn't that look good? I'm gonna put a hurt on that later on. Amy will appreciate I brought those. But I figured I would give you guys a little ride around and just talk a little bit since it's so rainy. Maybe I could ride around in the car. Last thing about this coffee shop, and this is not a commercial, I promise. I just like them, and I like the place, and when you're in town, you might think about coming here. It's in an old bank building. When I say old, it's probably mid-century, and I've always heard from the folks that seem to have their ear to the ground around here that the very last scene that Robin Williams ever did in a movie, it was filmed inside this coffee shop. So they still have the area, looks like a bank, and the drive-through was like a bank drive-through, but inside I think they rented it out and did a bank scene in there. So if you guys know what that movie is and what that scene is, I believe this is the last place that Robin Williams ever acted in a film. So a little history for you. The rain is really coming down. I hope we don't have a flood. Whenever it rains like this, I'm reminded of the Nashville flood, and oh my goodness. My memories of that was I was on the road. I believe I had a gig in Indianapolis at the Vogue, was my last gig of that little run, and I drove back to Nashville, and I remember trying to get into our neighborhood, and it was flooded all around it. I knew it was raining really hard, but it just seemed like this. It didn't seem like anything, you know, like what it became. And but there was water standing in the street really high, and I couldn't get through there, and I had to go around a back way to get into the neighborhood. And our house is on the top of a hill. I call it Mount Rinraw. Made an album there by the same name. That's what I call home in East Nashville. And I got up to the top of the hill. Was really tired. I'd been up most of the night and drove back, and I went to bed. And when I woke up, this is probably noon when I got home, I woke up like early evening, and man, there was major flooding, and then it was obvious, oh wow, this really is something. This is something horrible. And whenever it rains real hard in Nashville, I start thinking about that. And I did a video with a friend of mine who was she was in charge of taking care of the collection, the museum collection at the Grand Ole Opry, and she saved a whole lot of artifacts in there, and she talks about that. I made a video that I'll link at the end of this, and maybe you guys can go watch that. It's really good stuff. But I'm curious if you guys saw the Ray Benson stuff, the Ray Benson videos I've been uploading. those have been really fun. It seems like a lot of people are enjoying those. And man, Ray Benson is a cool cat. He is a really, really cool cat. I was trying to think of the best way to describe this to people, but there are people that you know that have the good sense to be on their best behavior, you know, when they're around people that they don't know very well or something, and they're nice and they behave well and all of that, and that's a good thing. That's a very good thing, because there's a lot of knuckleheads out there that don't know to even do that. Then, so there's those folks. Then there are people who don't have to be on their best behavior. That's just simple. That's their simple resting mode, where they're just really cool, incredibly down-to-earth people who are very pleasant to be around and are a great hang. And that's Ray Benson. Man, he was so genuine, so down-to-earth, easygoing, which you know me, I'm mellow as hell. So I like people who come across as being mellow also. And man, it's the first time I'd ever met him. And he just could not be cooler. I can't say enough good things about him. When that interview was over, he hung out for a while. He wasn't in any hurry to be anywhere. It's an hour or two that we just hung out and talked about whatever. And just a really cool cat who was there. I mean, he was there, right in the heart of all of that cool stuff. I think of that era of Austin, you know, we'll say Austin, Texas. There's awesome stuff going on in Houston also. But when I think of that era, it is like Paris in the 20s, where I think of Gertrude Stein. We'll say Ray Benson could be the Gertrude Stein character, where you know, Hemingway came to her for advice. Picasso came to her for advice, you know, to talk about, always was welcome amongst all of these different people, was right in the heart of it, and doing cool stuff, making great art. And I think of Ray Benson like that. And I really enjoyed having him on. I hope you guys enjoyed that. If you did, tell me down below. You know, if you were around Nashville during the floods, tell me down below. I'd be interested to hear that. But I'm going to tell you guys a little bit of history trivia. I'm going to see if I can pull up to a place here, and I'm not sure if I could do this since it's raining so much. But a lot of you guys heard my audio podcasts. Thanks for giving a damn. I don't remember how many episodes, 170 or somewhere right around in there, episodes of that, and people really loved it. I enjoyed doing it, but it was just crazy work. And let me pull over here and see if I can. So when I was creating that podcast, I know a lot of you folks listened to that and enjoyed it, and I thought I would share this with you. When I was making it, I was trying to define the universe that it existed in. Like, what are the parameters? What is this thing gonna be? So I would know. And I'm a firm believer in using limitations as a tool to inspire creativity. Where if you say I'm gonna use these particular facets of it, these tools. Like if I'm making a record, I'm only gonna use these instruments. You know, there'll only be this or that. It's hard to explain, but I will think it through in my head, and I can just rule out all of these other possibilities. Like, one of the things is there would be two people. There would be me and another person, and we would be in the same room, physically present with each other, alone. And there's an intimacy that happens when that happens. If people are watching in the room, it doesn't happen. If you're looking at each other on a computer screen in different parts of the world, I don't think it happens. I wanted to be in the room with the person. That's one part of the universe. And when I knew that I was going to edit it heavily, and as the conversation shifted a little bit, I wanted these little spots to break it up, just so the listener could digest it a little bit easier. And so I wanted to have some kind of organic sounds that would happen in between the conversation. And I went out and I thought, what if it happened in nature, or it wasn't music, it was a sound that happened in the real world. That was in my mind, but I wasn't sure what that would be. And I went out with a field recorder and I just recorded a lot of different sounds. And the one that worked best was the sound of cars going by on wet streets as it rained. And it just worked as a really nice segue. It was natural, but it was dynamic and had motion and all of that. And I used a few different ones in early episodes, but then it became a stable of what I used to put in and separate parts of the conversation. That sound of traffic going by was cars going by on Gallatin Avenue in East Nashville, Gallatin Street. I don't even know what, Gallatin in East Nashville. It's right here where I'm sitting. There was an old mid-century rundown strip mall-ish place that was right here, and I was in the parking lot. It was raining. I stepped outside the car and got rained on, but just stood there silently, and you could hear the cars going by 50 or 60 feet away going up and down Gallatin. That spot was right here. They tore all of that down because that's what they do in Nashville. They tore all of that down and they put in a Publix, which is actually a really nice supermarket. And so right out here, this parking lot is always packed. But if you walk straight out from the door that you walk into, the main door at Publix, straight out about 80% through the parking lot and stand right there facing Gallatin, that's where I was when I recorded that going by. This means nothing to a lot of you, but those of you who listen to the podcast, maybe you'll care and record that for history's sake. Now, I realize something of this magnitude happening, there's probably going to be a historical marker put up, right over here in the spot. It'll probably take a week or two, but I'll be sure and film a video when they dedicate that. So I'm sure that's going to happen. So I've talked about this before, but there's a lot of new people. A lot of new people. I never remember what I talked about. Maybe I talk about something when there were 10,000 subscribers, and now there's over 100,000, and I just assume that people are tired of hearing me tell the story or whatever. But I started this channel during the pandemic when I couldn't interview people for the podcast anymore in person, so I just started talking on camera, locked down in my house as a way to distract myself from this ugly moment and maybe throw something positive out into the world. And there was so much positivity came back to me in a time that I drastically needed it. And it's beautiful. I just put notes in the bottle and throw them out into the ocean and see if anybody found them. And a lot of people found them, which is beautiful. And I'll be thankful for that for quite a while. And so I shifted everything towards doing this on YouTube, and the podcast just kind of has been in limbo ever since then. And sometimes people ask me if I could ever bring it back, and I don't know if I ever will or not, because it's everything that I can do to keep up with this, and I never made any money at all from the podcast. It was just something I did, and that's fine. I think that you don't have to make money from everything, but by doing this, I filled up every single moment in my schedule, like every single moment, and there's just no extra time to go back to that. And I say that the amount of time that I can dedicate to doing this channel is kind of dictated of, I have bills to pay, and so I have to try to find a way to make it sustainable throughout time. And the people who've joined my Patreon and channel members have helped out a lot with that. I mean, a lot. And as that continues to grow, I can keep adding to this archive, and so those people make it possible. If you okay, complete transparency, my memory card on this camera just ran out, and that's never happened before. It's never happened. in a, what, 3 years of using this camera, and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of interviews. That's never happened. So I forget what I was talking about. And I would just say that if you want to support this archive, you know, me making this, just join the Patreon. And I put up like a couple hundred videos there, and I share stuff all the time, and I try to be more open on there than I am. And those people make everything here possible, and I'm thankful for that. And if it continues to grow, who knows what we might be able to do with this channel. And if you don't have extra cash, you just don't want to mess with it, that's fine, man. Just keep watching the videos and enjoy it, and tell a few friends. It's all right. I don't want you know, money to be the thing that separates us or whatever. And but if so, those who can afford to will support it, and those who can't won't, and that's fine. But anyway, I'm gonna put up a link right here to that video about the Grand Ole Opry flooding. It's really good stuff. I hope you watch it. Go back and watch all of the Ray Benson stuff, the J.D. Simo stuff. It's really good. And I will see you somewhere down the road. Much love to you.